What's going on, everybody? I am Zack, the Tactical Gnome. We got JP in the house tonight.
Howdy.
As usual, it's just us two. Keith, the bearded tank, is still dealing with some family issues. So he'll be in and out when he can. With COVID, it's been rough. That's why we haven't done a whole lot of things, and that's why it's been kind of hit and miss with some of the episodes between that and JP and I's work schedule changing.
And well, now things are extra weird since Zack's on Rona watch. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. About that, let's not discuss that.
All right, that's fair enough.
But anyways, so I wanted to jump on and discuss what was going on with everybody. I know it's right before Thanksgiving. So I tried to, what me and JP were talking right before the show started was I tried to share this link that we were going to have this episode tonight. And the book of Zuckerberg decided that I can't share it because of some WordPress blah, blah, blah BS issue where I can't share it from our page, which we have the link up, and there's a link there, which this video is now playing in that link. But I can't share it to my page. I can't share it to our secret group. I can't share it to the Tactical Gnome page. I can't share it anywhere. And I don't know why. It just won't let me. It just says it violates the terms of service, blah, 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 whatever bullshit. So on top of that, then you have, I also just this evening found out that our Instagram for the Daddy Brigade podcast has been zucked.
Interestingly,
we know Facebook.
I double checked, and the hashtag still exists. So, like for instance, the
hashtag still exists, but the actual page itself
the page there's no sign of it at all when you go to search it. And I just out of curiosity, I threw the search in, and I was like, the hashtag popped up, and I saw all these pictures of you, pictures of me, all kinds of other stuff. And but yeah, the page is just gone like a fart in the wind.
The page is gone temporarily because I filed a review of it. So we shall see what that does. I'm surprised that it took them this long, honestly. Surprised they haven't gone after my other one yet, let alone my Tactical Gnome page on Facebook or any of that, which I don't post on that one too much. It's just mainly I share it from Instagram to that one, but I'm going to change that. So it's been a minute, ladies and gentlemen, and sorry for that. Like I said, the Rona's been pretty much dictating when and where and how much time we can and can't do this and all this other happy-go-lucky fun bullshit. So let's first start off. I don't know where to start off. Let's start off with a couple little things.
We'll do it real quick since we were doing the themed drinks of the night or whatever for all these. This is a special version of a hot buttered rum where I literally fat wash spiced rum and Jamaican rum with browned butter, then strain it all back out, make a clear butter, add the water. I got like star anise and nutmeg going on in there with some demerara. It's delicious. It's just fucking holiday in a glass.
Nice. You do everything like weird.
It's not weird. It's very.
You do like a
hot buttered rum is like one of the oldest American drinks. Period. Like that's like literally like when America started making rum, they put butter in it and they drank all their beverages hot back then. But they added butter because the rum just wasn't that good. If they could get their hands on Jamaican rum, that's what they wanted. So that's why I did a little bit of Ray and Nephew in my fat wash. But the way I did it, so I'm not drinking actual butter. Doing the fat wash, you actually infuse it with like boiling butter, basically. Then freeze it and then take the fat back off of it, strain it, and then it comes out this perfect clear kind of rum color still. But then all the fat's been removed. So you have the flavor of the butter because flavors are very fat soluble, and so also alcohol soluble. Anything that's fat soluble, yada yada. nerd science on food. But you get all the butter flavor, no fat, no grease. It's like perfectly like a clean mouthfeel, but it tastes like fucking butter.
Nice.
It's yummy.
There we are. Okay. First, I was just checking because like a message just popped up on Facebook saying I couldn't share this content. Well,
of course.
Facebook.
There you go.
Anyways, so I'm just being plain and simple and having a proper 12 and Pepsi.
Attaboy. I'm gonna make it, if it makes you feel any better. I am gonna like probably mid podcast here. I have a pre-mixed. I made myself up a Manhattan. Even went so far.
You and your damn Manhattan.
I love them. Hey, first off, I love bourbon. I love rye. I love all these different things, and those go so well with a nice French sweet vermouth. So
see, I'm just a whiskey guy. Like, give me whiskey. No, if I had more ice, I would probably be drinking proper 12 on the rocks. But I'm not.
Do you not have like an actual water line ran to your freezer? You have an ice machine on your fridge.
Yes, I do have an ice machine. The problem is so because I live out in the armpit of Ohio, and there is
that sounded redundant, but okay.
Well, Ohio's got nice places.
I'm messing with you.
I'm just saying, Ohio's got nice places.
I have no problem with Ohio. I just like messing with, you're a Steelers fan, so right off the bat, like that gets you out of 99% of the jokes I make about Ohio.
Hey, look at it this way. At least we're not New Jersey or New York or California.
Well, New Jersey is the armpit of the nation, so that's a whole separate thing.
Yeah, true. So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, with the water line. Yeah. So, we have where I live in Mahoning County, the area I live in has got very high amounts of iron and sulfur. And when I mean high, I mean I go through, what are those, 40-pound bags? 2 40-pound bags of iron out a month.
Well, like you have like one of the systems like plumbed into your house to where it removes the bad stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
It removes the iron. I have to get a pre-filter.
Okay.
But I have to have somebody come and look and see if we can even install a pre-filter because there's also so much sulfur. But
okay.
The iron kind of overpowers the sulfur.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of...
So, like, if you, for instance, like in our bathtub, if the water just dripped out of the faucet, like if it drips out of the faucet, in 1 day's time, there'll be an iron mark on our tub.
That's pretty bad. Yeah, that's crazy.
We have a bad iron issue, so we don't drink our water. I buy jugged and bottled water to drink, pretty much. Now the kicker is see, our animals like our sheep and cats, they will drink our water no problem.
Okay.
Our water out in our barn doesn't seem. It's the same line. I don't know what the deal is, but it doesn't seem like there's as much iron built up.
Now you're not on like a well though or anything, right? You're on like the like you are on a well.
Yes, okay. I have what 2 wells? 2 wells, 1 well.
I like how you check with your wife because you have no clue.
Yeah, well, because I forget how many. Wait.
What are you doing?
Hold on. Somebody commented on something.
And it went away very fast?
Huh? No.
This is great audio there, Zach.
It is. I know. There he is. It popped up. What's up, man? Come on the podcast. I'm trying to wrangle. Just might be able to come on tonight. Okay, cool. We might have a guest later.
Oh, nice. Who's is it? Well, we'll wait and see if they come on. Screw it. I'll be surprised.
I'm gonna just send them the link, anyways.
There you go.
But it's another firearms friend. Okay, there we go.
I'm trying very hard to turn my light down.
Were you like clicking at something?
Yeah, my light bulb. I'm trying to get
your light.
Yeah,
like weird.
I think the remote needs new batteries. Is here? Hold on. I'll be 1 second.
Okay, he's gonna leave. So, anyways, while he leaves, up there.
I was just trying to get a little. That's still not good. I want to.
I mean, we should just do green for night vision the entire time.
Oh, see, Eric, hold on. I need to turn it up.
Yeah, turn the green up a little bit. There, one more. There you go. Now I feel like I'm looking at you through night vision goggles.
A little bit because I'm pasty that basically the green light hitting me turns me night vision green almost.
Sort of.
Not okay. If my wife was down here, it would work. But she's
Yeah, you kind of look kind of like a.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with it.
It's
Anyways.
like I'm like pasty with a tan. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, you've got like a nacho cheese look going there.
I can go for the other shade of green, maybe.
Anyways, so first things first. So we all know that I like to read a lot, and I read way too much.
That's relative. I mean, too much is not necessarily the right.
But yeah, I don't think you could ever read too much, but I enjoy reading books. So I've been reading a couple books, finished a couple. Normally I've got more books read by this time of year, but I was doing it at work to help me not smoke on breaks and stuff, but then Corona came around and I was like, well, basically screw this. So I went back to smoking, and now I don't really stay inside on my breaks, and I go sit out in my car and I smoke and read while I'm in my car, unless it's pouring down rain, and then I just stay inside and read or catch a quick smoke and then go read.
Well, at least I'll give you a partial John Willis Award for multitasking. How about that?
Well, yeah. I can also eat my lunch, smoke, and read at the same time.
There you go.
If I had to. So the one book that I just got done reading was called The Right Kind of Crazy. And yes, the title sounds kind of weird. Sounds like it should be a book on how to describe women. As I get the middle finger from across the living room, but it's okay. So this book is written about, it's called The Right Kind of Crazy, and it's written by Clint Emerson. Now, if you don't know who Clint Emerson is, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the book because you all need to pick it up. It's a great book. It's a good read. But Clint Emerson is the gentleman who wrote the 100 Deadly Skills books. He's a retired Navy SEAL and operator for people. So, but he's retired. He does the 100 Deadly Skills books. There's a new one coming out now. Should be out in January, called the 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition. But definitely,
how many versions of the book are there now? I mean, I have the, I want to say it's called the Survival Edition, but I will say this, folks: if you have none of them, never read one, it is like the ultimate Boy Scouts guide for like grown-ups, and for honestly, it'd be like for anyone. They are very handy books. I would say that there's a lot of stuff that's kind of transferable, and me and Zack were actually discussing this probably, I don't know, like a month ago, but whenever he started having that book at work, basically, the 100 Deadly Skills came up, and there is some overlap to them, but they all have their own like flavor and spin, and they all kind of go, like the one I have is like kind of broken down by regions.
You have the survival one,
yeah,
right?
I have the survival one, which
So
was probably the one that
I
was.
have both. I have both of his books. I have the survival one, and then I have the first 100 Deadly Skills, and then I have obviously his book. And then
I want to say there's like 3 other versions of 100 Deadly Skills now. Like there's like he's got special.
There's only 2 books.
Really? Like, see, I thought I saw more now on Amazon.
No, well, what you're seeing on Amazon is there's a 100 Deadly Skills workbook, and that is for people. If you read about it, it's actually, he talks about it in his book a little bit. That's actually for people with PTSD and other.
Oh, okay, very cool.
Other things. It's like a workbook. Like an activity book for adults. Then there's a calendar, and there's something else. And then the new book, which is coming out, which is the 100 Deadly Skills Combat Edition, which is kind of funny because when I first seen the cover of it, I was like, oh, 100 Deadly Skills, it looks like a Ranger manual because it's black and red lettering, and then the combat is bright yellow like the Ranger tab. And I was like, wait a minute, but he wasn't a Ranger, he was a SEAL.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he realized that, and if he happens to see this some way down the road or something.
That could have
I'm
also,
not knocking you.
Well,
I was just like,
this also might not have been a Clint thing so much as that could have been a publisher's own decision when they were marketing. That could have been some uneducated kid that had a little bit of knowledge on the military, who is more with a editorial or a marketing background, trying to make a marketing decision that probably
Yes.
had nothing to do with Clint. Let's be fair to that. If
All
it's,
of his books are actually really good. And
oh yeah,
the cool
absolutely.
thing is the one thing I will say about the Right Kind of Crazy book, it's very informative. It gives a very good background. I do like reading books and getting the background, like kind of like memoirs. I do like those style books. So I've read his. I've read, Matt Best's Thank You for My Service. That's another good book to get. I'm reading one right now called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and it was written by Lynn Black Jr.
My favorite 3 letters, but
yes, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, WTF. Lynn Black, quick rundown on this book. I just started reading. I'm about halfway through, actually. I started reading it about a week ago. First heard about it on Jocko's podcast, and so I picked up a copy of the book, and the book is awesome. And basically what it's about is Mac v. Sog. And I have kind of I don't know how to describe it. I have a liking for reading about Sog. And you can read so many books, and I guarantee I've overlapped stories from one book to another. I've read like 4 or 5 books on Sog, and they all kind of, they're stories, and you're like, oh, wait, I've already read about this story. But then you get a different perspective of it. And you go into another book, oh, yeah, I remember this. But you get somebody else's perspective. And so SOG, if you don't know about SOG, it was the MACV stood for the Military Assistance Command Vietnam. SOG was the Studies and Observation Group. And those were the guys that went and did the cross-border missions into Cambodia and Laos. And basically, they didn't exist. They were ran by, we'll just go with they didn't exist, because I don't want to speak out of turn when I discuss that, because these guys were just badasses in their own right. But I heard about this book. There's another guy that comes on there on Jocko's podcast, and he was the one that talked about this book, which his name is John Stryker Meyer. His nickname was Tilt. And it was interesting to see how he did stuff and everything. I have something pretty interesting, frightening. Tell Jared to jump on real quick, and or say whatever, and I'll read it. Doesn't matter. Would you stop screwing with the goddamn party light?
I hit a button and it got all crazy, and I had to stop it from doing its madness. So that's the remote's.
I felt like I was at a rave there for a second. I was having flashbacks.
That was way too slow.
Well, true. So, anyways, yes. So there is these books out there. Great books to read. Definitely recommend everybody pick up one of these books that I've talked about. I'm also reading one of Jocko's favorite books, and I've been reading it for over a year and haven't got very far in it. But keep in mind, the print is like this big. It's like this big. And it's like an 800 or 900 page book. And I'm only on page like 200. But like the print is this big. Okay. How to...
See, now I'm trying to remember which book you're talking about.
Yes, the book... give me 1 second, because Jared just messed with me. The book I'm talking about is called About Face. And it is written by retired Colonel David Hackworth. And it is an insane, it's an insane book. It's very good. And, give me a second here. It's very good so far from what I read. And Jocko said he basically wore it out. And he doesn't send out many books, he says, to people. But he has sent copies of this book to people. So it's a good book.
Nice.
Another book that I have not ordered yet, but will soon be ordering. And we are still trying to work out all the details, because this gentleman will be coming on the podcast as long as we can do this, is called Tip of the Spear. And I will get, hold on, give me a second here. I'm trying to do two things at once, folks, so bear with me. Spear here. Yes, I'm having a wonderful time, dude. This is not.
Thou shalt ingest a satchel of Richards.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't need that, but thanks.
Yeah, well.
Anyways, Tip of the Spear.
Just the tip? Oh, wait.
Just the tip. Why is this thing not working?
Yeah,
why is...
Well, here, while Zach's trying to struggle with that, I will say that, yeah, I definitely with the Clint books there, the 100 Deadly Skills, very, very cool. It's that it kind of reads almost like in the adult version of like a Boy Scout manual or something like that, or it's somewhere between that and like a if you've ever read like an Army survival guide, something like that. It's broken down depending on which version you get. They're kind of laid out slightly different, but they are very interesting as far as you can go like through literally like the one I have, the survival version, region by region. It'll kind of address just different problems that you may encounter or in a survival situation, and it essentially will kind of address your way to work through said problem with the likely items you may have. That kind of situation. I mean, I don't want to kind of go into it over in depth here because it's kind of an instruction manual / guidebook. But especially for the, they're relatively reasonably priced, and it's something worth checking out on Amazon or wherever you happen to buy your paper products or digital versions.
There's Jared.
Howdy.
Give me 1 second, Jared. The one that I meant to mention his name, and I didn't want to mention it wrong. I knew it was his first name was Ryan. Ryan Hendrickson. Look up his book, Tip of the Spear. We've been working to try to get him on. I won't talk about his book because I don't have it, but I know the story of it. And another good dude, another kind of SF legend in his own right. So we're going to work with getting him on. I'm going to try to get him on as soon as we can after the holidays. But we have our friend Jared from Marketan Defense Solutions. He wanted to come on here real quick. So, Jared, I'll let you have the floor, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're sounding pretty good there, Jared.
Over in the corner here it says Marketan D. That's kind of mildly amusing.
Oh, yeah.
So I got some this is weird. So some interesting stuff, man. Earlier this year, what's going on here? Earlier this year, I saw some articles and
your phone hates you.
Stop worrying so much about the picture of it. Just go. You're good.
Go with it.
Yeah, you're good.
Earlier this year, I read some articles. I saw some videos and whatnot, and people were talking about high lead levels in people that shoot a lot, people that train a lot, and in firearms instructors. High blood levels, so I made it a point. Well, I'll go, at some point and get tested. Still shooting outside then in classes for the most part. This is absolutely bothering me. So, I didn't really put too much stock in it. Since then, we've had to transition to the indoor range, and Larry's range, you come out blowing coal dust out of your nose.
Yes, I can vouch for that.
I've probably loaded 20,000 rounds of ammo this year and fired 10 of them, 10,000 at least. So I've been meaning to do it. I get my back adjusted every 3 weeks, right? So I saw the doctor. I keep forgetting, and this time I went in and it was like the main thing on the plate, and I'm like, hey, I know we talked about doing a blood panel, but can you test me for heavy metals, for lead? And he said, well, heavy metals is pretty expensive. And he said, your insurance probably isn't going to. Okay, give me a few minutes. So he said, well, heavy metals is like kind of, niche, very expensive. Insurance probably isn't going to pay for it. But lead, yeah. So we can test you for lead. And he said, why? You think you're elevated? Maybe, might be. Good chance. So they drew like a gallon of blood and a whole bunch. Well, like 8 vials or something. I don't know, a whole bunch. So he calls me today. Actually, I was asleep and he woke me up, so I didn't really get to ask all the questions. And he's like, so we got your test results back. He said, there's no safe level of lead. There's no level of lead like, oh, your lead is good. The average American male has 3 micrograms per deciliter of blood, and that's because our government hates us and wants us to die. So you've got your number would be 3. What they call elevated is 5. Mine is 30.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit!
Yikes.
So I've got lead poisoning. So some of the symptoms that I have that I thought were from like getting hit by a car and ran over by a truck and all this stuff is, I mean, I've actually been thinking I had Lyme disease. I kind of want to get tested for Lyme disease, and it's probably just lead poisoning. So
now, can I ask a question? You mentioned about reloading, say 20,000 rounds. Do you typically wear anything like that?
No, but a lot of it isn't lead. I mean, you don't. It's kind of hard to get exposure to lead from touching a cast bullet.
Well, I mean, I was just trying to remember. I mean, I haven't reloaded since I was a kid. My dad used to have an awesome setup, but I remember like getting lead, like just handling the projectiles more than anything, like all over the hands. And I know that he was always like, you always wash your hands as soon as you're done with this, and you don't lick anything, you don't eat anything, just typical dad stuff. But
and I thought I was doing well. When I'm done reloading, I wash my hands. When I come in after I shoot, I wash my hands. No big deal. You get that little insert when you buy a gun, and it says like, change your clothes, take your clothes off outside, and like come inside naked and wash yourself in vinegar or whatever. Maybe there's some truth to that.
I mean, some folks actually do that in California, I think, but that's
I'm sure.
Holy crap, that's insane.
So,
because I remember, like as like a kid, the one thing I always like to do was after we'd shoot, I'd go dig in the mound and pull out the bullets after they'd mushroom.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of them for a long time, and I ended up throwing them out. And my dad goes, that all has lead on it, right? And I was like,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, my 93-year-old grandfather still has a little lead figure on his dresser. It's a little clock.
So do I. I have one upstairs.
Former president of the FOP, former Sergeant Zone 3 Pittsburgh, has his little police officer that is solid lead. That this tiny little thing looks like it to come off a keychain, but it feels like it weighs like 40 pounds because it's just solid lead. I mean,
I have one of those little lead soldiers that Tanya bought me.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, everyone like said
I told Levi, I was like, don't you ever touch that thing, though.
So I'm gonna I'm actually looking for something here. I'm gonna change some things. I mean, I don't know.
Now, did your doctor tell you anything as far as is there a treatment to help reduce the lead from your system now? Is there?
Well, no, not at this time. It has to be higher. Well, I was reading.
So wait, elevated's 5, and you're at
elevated's
30.
5. You're at 30.
That's not good enough to do something about that.
That's obviously not good enough.
I mean, he said we're going to check again in 3 months because I'm not. Well, see, like I don't think I have symptoms. I don't know if I have symptoms. Like I have symptoms anyway, like joint pain and stuff. And I mean, I had the spinal injury. Oh, there it is. So I just kind of assumed that it was like arthritis and pinched nerves, all the pinched nerves and everything that was causing me all this pain. And now I'm thinking it's lead poisoning. So, I mean, I was honestly thinking I had Lyme disease because, like, I used to go camping. We didn't check for ticks. Like, that just. I was
gonna say, you look good though. You look damn good.
Well, you know what? I've lost like 30 pounds since last winter, and then I'm reading the side effects of lead poisoning. One of them is weight loss.
So you're actually on the lead diet. Okay, that's.
I'm gonna lick some. Yeah, I'm gonna lick some bullets for a while. Get back down to about 210, and then do something about it. But no, they saw what OSHA says. Like if in your workplace, if you work with lead, you get monitored weekly. When you hit 240 or when you hit 40, a lead of 40, they pull you from the job site until you go below, whatever.
Oh, wow.
When you hit 80, they start chelation therapy, which is probably very healthy. It sounds very healthy. Where they give you some, I don't know what it is. They give you something to help your body excrete the lead, because the lead, I've been reading about it today. The lead gets trapped in your bones. It's like it absorbs. Your body treats it like calcium, so it absorbs into your bones. So your bones like absorb the lead, and then it like dispenses this lead slowly into your blood, and so it's bad. And I mean, there's a couple things that I know is going on. Well, number one, the lack of ventilation in the range is not acceptable. I mean, the side that we shoot on at Larry's, on the right side, it's like horrid. But that's because all the ventilation's on the left side where we do classes. But if you don't open the exterior door a little bit, then there's no draft coming in.
I've come out of that place and I've felt like you have that metallic taste
Yes.
in your mouth.
Yes. So when I started going up there in the summer, I just opened the exterior door, and I mean, there's 4 big fans on the left side on the ceiling, and I mean, it'll blow your hair. And if you're towards the front, you don't smell anything. I mean, it just immediately goes away. Well, now that it's cold, he doesn't want to open the door because he wants people to come back to the range. So, the smoke just kind of hangs. If it doesn't have anywhere to pull from, it's not going to ventilate. But, and Full Metal Jacket bullets, most of them have an exposed lead base. So you're getting anhydrous lead in the air. They call it fusing, where the temperature of the plasma in the chamber is high enough to vaporize a layer of lead. So
you're literally saying, so like the heat coming up from the actual explosion when the powder goes off, hitting the back end of the projectile, obviously pushing it down your chamber barrel, etc. So it's actually vaporizing lead at the chamber, basically.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
And that's why I had a saga with my Ruger 44 Magnum where I was getting leading really bad in the barrel. And the issue was the Ruger chambers are slightly oversized. I think they oversize Rugers because they have this reputation for strength. So if they make everything a little oversized, it'll be extremely difficult for you to blow it up.
Yeah, it's not gonna pull up the same chamber pressure if it's
Yeah. Well, it's the standard bullet, the standard bore size is 429. So you'd shoot a 430 bullet, 430 cast bullet. Well, the chambers are 431. So what would happen when you fire it, the escaping gases would just go around the bullet, and it would vaporize lead off the sides of the bullet, and it would actually deposit it into the barrel. And I really have an appreciation for how much lead is coming out, because if I fired 20 rounds, I'd get chunks of lead, and there would be lead that comes out like with the rifling, it would come out and look like a piece of wire.
Oh wow, that's insane.
That's how much lead.
So after like a little over 1 magazine, you're talking.
It's a revolver.
Oh shit. Okay, I didn't realize. You said Ruger. I didn't really think about which model you were talking about.
Now when you use the correct size bullets, in a cast bullet, it has to be the right size. So now I got, I custom 431 size bullets. They fit the chamber and they're powder coated. So I'm kind of going to all powder coated. Some of them are called impact coat. The pen bullet has some proprietary magic sauce. You don't know what it is, but it doesn't really come off. I mean, I'm sure it wears it off in the rifling, but I mean, it really reduces your exposure.
So you can actually get a projectile then that's kind of matched to the oversized, like the overboring of a Ruger. Then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
yeah.
Cool. I would also think that would have to affect accuracy then too, if you're talking about a looser. I mean, if you're not getting that same seal on a projectile, I mean, I'm sure that's minute, and most people's, their trigger control is far beyond whatever that chamber difference would be, but still.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, because what I think happens is, the bullet loses weight from its diameter, but then when it hits the forcing cone, it stops. It's not going down. So, so then when the bullet obturates, that's when the pressure behind it causes it to deform and fill the bore. It goes lopsided. So when I would get all the lead out of the barrel, which usually involved like 3 hours of cleaning and then getting mad and shooting like 6 jacketed bullets, that's not okay to do. But when I would shoot cast again, like at 15 yards, the first 2 rounds would go in the same hole. The next one would go like an inch over, and then it was like an inch and a quarter.
Wow.
But now it's much better. I mean, it shoots thieves really well. But anyway, revolvers just make a mess. They make a mess. There's lead just splattered all over it. There's lead on the inside. There's lead on the outside of the cylinder. And then you're handling that. And I'm not thinking, I'm like, here, let me load this thing up again. And so I'm just ingesting lead. So I'm inhaling it. I mean, you'll inhale some. Anybody that shoots is going to have a higher lead level. It's kind of unavoidable. But 30, we got to
30 is insane, man.
Yeah, it's kind of frightening to think like 30. Wow, if I didn't shoot a gun for 6 months, I might feel better. But no, I wouldn't feel better. I'd feel pretty bad if that happened.
Yeah.
But, so you're inhaling some lead and some particles, but then, I shoot a lot of revolvers anymore, and they're just smattered with lead.
Hey, you guys talk. I'll be right back.
Okay. So it's probably, the whole gun's probably covered in lead. It's all over the front of the cylinder. It's all over the inside of the frame. And I have a rag on my reloading bench. It's like my dirty rag. Like anything that's just dirty, I just wipe with this rag, and it's guns, like my stainless SP101, it just gets black all over it. And, I'll shoot a couple cylinders. I don't take this rag, wipe it off, shoot it, wipe it off, anything, wipe. This rag is like black and
coated with lead.
I probably like eat a sandwich and then wipe my mouth with it, like that's how kind of careless.
Man.
We're changing things, I mean, I could use gasoline for mouthwash, but I mean, and this is just years in the making too. I mean, I made a video on my page and I said, don't think you're going to go to the range one time and get lead poisoning. That's not how it works. This is cumulative. This has been going on for 34 years. And now I have a lead level of 30. So a little abatement techniques, and I don't know what I'm going to do at the range. I can't wear a mask. I actually have an exemption for a mask. And I would need an N95 might help, but I'd want like a respirator. I was
going to say, what about wearing a paint respirator?
That's what I would need. And then I'm going to try to talk to people and like, and then they're shooting on the other side. So that's not going to work, because you're half reading lips in there anyway. But, luckily anytime I have a class, there's really not anybody else in there. So that man, I'm going to tell, the last couple of times I said, Larry, we need to open that door a little bit. And he said, no, it's going to be too cold. And I'm going to tell him, I was going to call him or stop in there today, but I kind of was busy. I forgot. I was going to say, hey, I have lead poisoning, bro. So that door needs to be open a crack. Like, I don't care how cold it is. There needs to be air, air circulating in there. And when people get that coating in their head, that range is famous for that, and people don't want to come back. But one thing I want to show you, I don't have a very good example of it here, honestly, and you probably won't be able to. So this is an old bullet. And this isn't a good example, but you'll see some old lead bullets and they're white.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Well, that's lead oxide.
Yeah.
That's lead. And that'll come off. You can. I might as well just do it. Because it's a little late now.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Probably not.
But so those old lead, that white crusty stuff on there, don't handle those. Don't. Shoot them, but no, you're increasing your exposure with that because that stuff is it's powder. You can just rub it with your finger.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this one had a little bit, but no, it's a 44 180. I have something somewhere that looks like that. Oh, it's those old cop bullets I have from the 80s.
You're giving me a new appreciation from your story from the carry ammo I've used for quite some time now. It used to be Corbon. Now the Pies sold the company. It's Defiant Munitions now, but I use their for years. I've carried their solid copper projectile offerings.
Yeah. Well, that's the way they're trying to go. They want to make all projectiles copper. They want to totally do away with lead, and then they're going to do away with ammunition in the process.
Well, that's a separate thing. Like this, I like for
buck a shot.
Yeah, that's a whole separate category.
Well, yeah, I'm talking literally. This is strictly my carry ammo. That is like I obviously never trained with that stuff. Like if I'm in if I'm going taking a class and I'm shooting 1,000 rounds in a couple days, it's FMJs for sure.
yeah, it's not the Barnes solid copper.
Well, that's fine. That's actually even like for my deer rifle. A lot of times I love those Barnes TSX. The solid copper. I've had deer dropped faster with a 223 than some of my buddies that are in those same woods with 30-06. Because those solid copper are nasty, man. They expand.
Where are you hunting it? You can use a 223.
In Pennsylvania,
really,
I can use a 223. I can't use it semi-auto. I actually last time I got a deer, I had my stag with a red dot, but it's a piston model. It's their old M8T, and I removed the piston, effectively convert it to a bolt action.
Single.
Yeah. So now it's like, hey, you show me the gas system, and you can fucking write me the fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think in Ohio on private property, like here on my property, I should be able to use anything I want.
I agree with you.
Well, that's the flip side there.
Win mag.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the flip side of it. It's like when you're on your own property, no one should be able to tell you what the hell to do about any animal on your property.
I mean, I can shoot.
I mean, if that's the case, I'd be hunting coyote with like 155 artillery.
Yeah. But I can shoot anything I want, anything 338, whatever. I can shoot that. But if there's a deer standing in between me,
straight wall, right? Isn't that the deal for you guys? Straight wall cartridges.
Yeah, straight wall.
Yeah.
Now, see, like
where I hunt with a revolver, I hunt with a 44 Magnum.
That's
I'm using this year. I'm using 12 gauge, the Remington Deer Slayer slug gun. But next year, I'll be using 450 Bushmaster.
That's
I thought about a 450.
A buddy of mine last year, he good family friend. He used his Smith & Wesson 500. Yeah, that's what he got his deer with, and that was here in PA. The weird thing here is like the county I live in, Allegheny County. It's actually where Zack and I work, is the same county. Like you can't use a rifle projectile. Period. It doesn't matter like straight wall or anything.
Yeah, you have to use a shotgun.
Yeah, literally, it's actually when I dust off my I have an old Remington 1116 gauge that when I run their slugs out of it, they're just old school rifled, slug. That thing slings darts. It is the most accurate, like as far as like a smoothbore shotgun. I love that thing. Like
my grandpa had an old Stevens single shot 12 gauge with a full choke.
Yeah,
and it was like the tube doesn't come out, and those neck down over like 8 inches, dude. 45 yards away, you could shoot it like a paper plate, and there'd be nothing left of it, just charred. And I mean, it would shoot slugs just drilling through the same hole. Just amazing.
That's. I mean, so this is my shotgun that I grew up with. Like, I'm pretty sure the gun's older than me. Like it literally was like handed to me when I was a child. As like this is here you go. This is like small game, first time out hunting. Like, this is what my dad handed me, and it was like my shotgun my whole life after that point. And the first time I ran slugs through it, like I thought someone was playing a joke on me. I mean, this thing was. Like I was somewhere between like 45, 50 yards ish with just the bead sight, and this thing was just like. I mean, it was she was chucking darts. I mean, it was just like a tack driver. It was crazy.
Yeah, the first gun I ever shot was an old school shotgun like that. And I went to shoot it, never shot a gun before I was 8 years old. And my grandpa or my uncle said, hold on a minute. And he took the shell out, and I could still see the shell. It was like a teal blue color, and it looked really big or something. It looked weird. And he put it in there, and I got ready to shoot, cocked the hammer, and I looked back at everybody, and they all had their ears plugged. I didn't discover ear protection until like in my 20s.
Oh, yeah. We never did that stuff when we were kids. Shotguns, 22s, all that. I mean, I'm trying to remember now. You mentioned that the first time I ever actually wore hearing protection, I was probably in my 20s.
Yeah, I think that's probably about the same.
If they plugged their ears, man, that meant something was about to go down. And afterwards I saw it said, heavy quail, and I shot that thing, and wow.
So it was like a high brass round or something.
Oh yeah. It was 3-inch Magnum, high brass, and it was like inch and
Yikes.
it was like a 1.5 ounce shot, like amazing. Like we were in Hillsville and I shot we used to shoot into the water and I shot into water, man. It looked like the fountains in Las Vegas. Like that was a crazy power. And, I don't know if they thought I'd be scared, but I was like, give me another one of those.
Hand me another one.
I was hooked. Like if it kicks hard, I love it.
Let's do it again, Pappy.
I really wish they'd change in Ohio. I mean, if I just go back on my property for like whatever, like back in the woods, and if it's in season and I see a deer, I should be able to be like, oh, okay, dinner is served, but I can't because it's a 9mm and a 4-inch barrel and it's not gun season. So, I mean, I say if you own the property, you got 3 deer to shoot, you can shoot one with a
shouldn't matter.
One with a bow, one with a rifle, and one with a muzzle loader.
Yeah. I mean, I can literally open my kitchen window and rain a 30-round mag on coyotes with an AR, but I couldn't with a deer. But
see, I would personally like to be able to shoot deer with a rifle here in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because we shot that coyote using a friend's rifle at 300 yards with a suppressed 308.
Yo.
And all we seen was fur.
Right.
Well,
the nice thing was, it sounded like a 22 going off.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, my buddy, he's been hunting with straight walled for ever since the minute we were allowed. 4570, 444, 450 Bushmaster. It's kind of on the low end, really.
It is, and that's the only reason that I'm using it is because it's being loaned to me from my dad.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would probably, if I was going to probably shoot more, I would probably end up with a 4570.
I mean, you could take anything up to an elephant with that. But I'm
actually, if you go on Marlin's website, they have one that's rated for T-Rex.
Yes,
nice. Yep. That sounds like something they would. Actually, that sounds more like something Henry would want to put on there. I would think would be.
Yes, and granted, I told my friend, I was like, I told you, John, if I ever end up with a 4570 Marlin lever action, I will have a tactical lever action and put a goddamn M-lock rail on the end of it. Why? Because I can.
Henry has a couple models now that come with like tri-rails. I mean, they do that stuff.
Rails, yeah. Now 444 is another one.
Now I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head, and I should know this.
I've
so you
never
guys can't
heard
even
of
use a 30-30, right? So Ohio, like 30-30 is illegal even then, right? Like that's like
illegal.
That just like to me is like growing up, like that was like the brush gun, the deer gun, like that's what like if you didn't like pretty much like I don't know, to me growing up, and this is probably just being in PA, like it was always like 30-06 or 30-30. That's what every fucking buddy used. You know what I mean?
Everybody I hunted with was either 308 or 30-06, and I always ran 308.
308's the new 30-06. That's all. I mean, like if your gun's older, if you were just used like that's like. I mean that's if I buy another 30 cal rifle, it'll be a 308 just to modernize. But I mean, right now there's not really a cost benefit, so I rock my old Game Master 760 pump action 30-06.
Yeah, I have a 308 in my plan. I'm a reloader, so I do it backwards. I have the dies, and I have a coffee can full of cases.
Now it's time to buy the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
444, I think they invented that in like the 60s. 444 Marlin, so it's a 44 Magnum bullet. Mm-hmm. So they designed that for people that hunt small plots of land, like 5 acres and under.
But it still travels at 2,600 feet per second.
Yeah. So the idea behind that is let's just push a pistol bullet so fast that it's like an explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, fragmentation. People say, you want it to retain its weight. Well, yes and no. I mean, some fragmentation. So I've shot 2 deer with my 44. One was amazing. It was a doe. It was about 35 yards away, and she's facing me. Full, big, full-grown deer. Not a giant doe, but a full-grown adult deer. And she's facing me and she's looking at me, and there's 4 or 5 other deer, and I'm thinking like I'm hunting with a bow, I'm like turn to the side, and then I'm like, wait a minute, you don't need to turn. Shot her in the chest, bullet come out her butt, it went through, and I thought like meat was going to explode, and none of that happened. But it made a 3/4 inch hole. You could have stuck a dowel rod all the way through this hole. I mean, it was like a laser, And she looked at me, paused, took 2 wobbly steps, and laid down. It was done. And my buddy said, did you gut shoot her? And I'm like, did I everything shot her? I shot her 1 lung, blew heart in half, liver in half, all through the guts, just utter destruction. Now, a few years ago, I think it was 2017, me and this one buck, we had a thing. He's dead now, but I didn't get him. So I watched this deer for 4 hours, and he came at 50 yards. And people are like, oh, wow, that sucks. He's a little too far for you. Well, maybe not. You see, I sit here and shoot every gun at 50 yards. My 380, 50 yards, steel plate, so I put one right where the sight was, right in the middle of the vitals. I saw it hit. He donkey kicked, and he ran. I can see about 150 yards. He ran away and disappeared. There wasn't a drop of blood. That was a 240 grain Hornady XTP. I saw it hit. And what I think happened is the bullet hit a rib and fragmented to pieces, and it definitely didn't go through because it would have been in the ground. I mean, it was obvious. You shoot a 44 into the ground, and you're like, hey, that looks like somebody shot a 44 into the ground.
Nice.
Even through 40.
Usually you see the dirt fucking kick up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a hole there. It looks like something dug a hole. So I think that bullet failed. I think that bullet fragmented, just fractured. He definitely didn't live. I mean, you don't walk that off. You don't walk off 1,300 foot-pounds of kinetic energy in a 240 grain bullet.
So you're thinking even with that size projectile that it came apart enough on impact, or like do you think maybe it fragmented like pre-terminal ballistic? Like
no, I think it fragmented on impact.
Okay, just that much though.
We're live. Hi.
Hi.
But that's the only feasible answer I have. I mean, because if I had the bullet, I'd show you. I mean, it's a perfect mushroom. From the first one, perfect. It's like 0.660 average, and I mean, it looks like a mushroom. If you threw this thing in a deep fryer, somebody would eat it. And it still weighed like 236.5 grains. So I'm like, yeah, these things are awesome.
To be fair, I'll eat almost anything if you fry it right.
Huh?
I said, to be fair, I'll eat almost anything if you fry it right.
Yeah, even lead. I might as well.
Well, hey, John.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is maybe it hit the rib, fragmented, deflected, hit other ribs. It didn't go through because there was no blood, 0 blood. I mean, this gun shoots so much fire. Like, I mean, I'm loading max loads. Like, they don't shake. When you shake them, they don't shake. I mean, it's nothing over, not unsafe. It's just straight to the top.
This is in your 44?
Yeah, super. See,
my dad had someone
1,500 feet a second.
Well, that's we have a I have still his old he had Smith Model 29.
Yeah,
the old Dirty Harry. Pretty close actually. I mean, except for his had an 11.25-inch barrel, had the adjustable sights, and it's the like the bear gun, whatever. He originally got it. He was a cancer patient. Shoulder was all jacked up. His doctor wrote him a note to hunt with it for deer before you were allowed to here back in the 80s. He found some guy that was kind of a guru on that gun, and when he used to hand load, he has these crazy cowboy rounds. I still have a bunch of them that are the kind of partially jacketed hollow points, kind of like what you were showing earlier.
Yeah.
And these things, literally, if you take the widest stance you can, shoulders forward, this thing knocks your arms over your, these.
Goodness.
It is a Haas round. It is literally the pressures that will just barely keep that gun from coming apart.
Well, yeah, now that's not good.
Well, I mean,
a whole bunch of those.
Well, I mean, we haven't shot a whole bunch of them, but the
question.
Oh, yes,
sir. Question. Hey, we'll stop, not the video recording, but we're going to stop the audio recording on the board, and we're going to start a whole nother episode because we have our stuff only runs an hour on the board. So we're going to cut that episode and basically restart real quick. So hang out with us, Jared, and we'll talk more. And then me and JP got to get into some of the other stuff too.
Yeah,
I just wanted to talk about the lead there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on and telling us that. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah,
I'm going to put some stuff on my page about lead abatement. I think cleaning guns better, and they have those lead wipes now.
Yeah, I have the REM wipes that I used to use, but those don't necessarily get rid of all. I mean, they kind of do both a little bit, but they also have like the REM oil on them, so I don't know if they're
Yeah, that stuff like even hop solvent won't take lead off.
yeah.
So they have these lead wipes, and you can wipe your skin, you can wipe your guns. Like I guess they're good to wipe everything.
That
with,
sounds like
remove
something
lead.
that would be good for everyone to have in the range bag. Then just if nothing else, just to take
Yeah.
it off your hands. Like I know I've used Lysol wipes and pretended like that was good enough leaving the range, and I fucking know it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta put some kids down. I think. Is there a
All
way
right.
I can mute this and maybe come back on?
Yeah,
or-
just hang out. We can even wait before we
Yeah.
start doing the other recording for a minute.
I'll tell you what. I'll remove you from the stream, but leave you in the studio. So when you come back, I'll just re-add you back to the studio.
You're going
Okay,
backstage.
so you're gonna start another episode then?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna just end this one, and we're gonna keep the live
when we
stream
go
going.
too
But we're gonna
long-
end this audio version,
Yeah.
and then just keep it going.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it gets a little wonky for our uploads if we go too long. That's all.
All right.
Right.
I'll see you in a bit.
Same-
Up.
All
Cut out.
right. Thank you for coming
All
on
right.
there, sir. He's gone already. Well,
Yep. I accidentally cut him out.
In
too soon.
spirit, he might have heard
He's
us
still
still.
here.
Yeah, he can still hear us back.
Anyways,
all right.
so yeah, I'm gonna have to edit the whole description because we didn't get into what we wanted to, but that was
And
very
that's
good
fine.
information to have from Jared.
It absolutely
So,
was. I'm glad he came on.
For the audio version, sorry about that. We'll get into what we were going to talk to on maybe the next one.
So say if the philosopher Gump,
our other guest said he's probably going to jump on here in a bit.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm Zack the Tactical Gnome.
JP, the armored chef.
The Armored Chef. Is that what we're going with? Armored Chef?
I've changed all of my my public stuff to that now. My IG, my YouTube.
The Armored Chef. I like that. All right. That's about it for this episode, guys.
Welcome. We're calling this "Welcome Back." I think more or less.
Yeah. Welcome back. We're back.
We back.
We will talk to you guys later on. Daddy Brigade podcast
out.